Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. Ni Sambolo Binaka, and a very good morning to you all. The Honorable Minister, Tikoduadua, the Minister for Defense and Veterans Affairs, the Honorable Sashi Kiran, Minister for Women, Children and Social Protection, representatives of the forces, the diplomatic corps, distinguished guests, development partners, ladies and gentlemen. A warm Bola Binaka and a very good morning to you all. On behalf of the organizers, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to the launch of the Gender Barrier Assessment Project. Today's launch represents an important milestone. The report provides evidence-based insights into the barriers that affect gender equality and inclusion within our security institutions. Thank you all for joining us for this significant occasion. And to begin our program, I will now invite the chaplain for the Future Police Force to lead us in the opening devotion.
Our meditation this morning is found in Genesis chapter 1 verse 27 in the scriptures. The scripture said that God created man in his own image. In his own image he created men and women. And this verse provides a biblical foundation for the understanding of the dignity and worth of humanity. Both men and women equally bear the image or the imago Dei of God. And God created them to reflect on his character, his virtues and trust with the shared responsibility of caring for creation. So this understanding calls us to reject abuse, discrimination, violence and injustice. And it also can encourage us to honor the gift and wisdom that God gave to every individual. And we know that every human being reflects the image of the Creator. Faithful response to this truth is to uphold the God-given dignity and worth, and working together as image bearers to glorify God and faithfully fulfill his purpose in this world. Let us come before God in prayer. We give you thanks, O God, as we come together this morning as image bearers to glorify your goodness. And we thank you for your grace that's sufficient for us. And we thank you for the love that's shared among us. And we thank you that we all receive the gift and wisdom from above. Today, as we gathered here for the launching of the Gender Barrier Assessment Project, we acknowledge that you created us men and women in your image and your likeness. And we thank you for your unfailing love and wisdom that guides us in all that we do. Lord, fill this place with your peace, open our hearts and our minds so that we may listen to one another with respect, compassion, and humility. And let our efforts lead to genuine transformation in attitude, relationship, and workplace culture. We dedicate this moment into your loving hands, O God, and we ask for your blessings upon this gathering. In Jesus' wonderful name we pray. Amen.
Now we'll proceed with the garlanding of our chief guest. Now I'll invite the Honorable Minister for Defense and Veterans Affairs, Honorable Tikoduadua, to deliver his keynote address.
Nisambulunak. Minister for Women, Children and Social Protection, the Honorable Sashi Kiran, representatives of UN Women, members of the Diplomatic Corps. I would like to specifically acknowledge the presence here this morning of the High Commissioner for New Zealand. Welcome, Excellency. And of course, that special table on the left, you guys look familiar. Welcome. I hope I have not missed anybody from the Diplomatic Corps. No, okay. The Commissioner of Police, Mr. Rushati Tundrabu, Colonel Talmaimbau of the RSMF, representatives of the Fiji Police Force in the House today, and also of the Republic of Fiji Military Forces. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my ministry prepared a 3-page intervention. I think if I read it all, you'll probably all fall off to sleep. But I was sharing with the Commissioner as I was walking in, I didn't realize that I have to wear a force neutral shirt. And I remember wearing a similar one not long ago, I think about 2 or 3 years ago, then when I was Minister for Home Affairs and looked after the police and also the military under one roof. And I wear it only on one occasion, that's during the Schooner Bowl. So, and in that spirit, as we talk about gender barrier assessment project, which is very important to decision makers at different levels of government and within the police and the military, particularly in dealing with challenges to making sure that women are elevated to that proper platform where they can be of the most value. And as part of this initiative, I think this has been the 3rd year really I've been following this particular initiative. And I told the Commissioner that I came with, I wore a coat, and today I came with my police tie. It's actually hanging back in my office. So this tie was gifted to me by my daughter, who's a policewoman, and I think most of you in the House today would be familiar to a certain degree of the circumstances that she had gone through as a policewoman, as a service person, as someone who was in that checkpoint that particular night. I believe she was the only woman amongst the many police officers and also soldiers that were working with her, exposed to the same threats. But unfortunately for her, she became a victim of a threat that we all face equally in any area of operation where threat, risks our very existence and the mission that we carry, and that is particularly the mission of keeping our people safe. So I thought I'd come in a bit of solidarity with her, but our police said I have to wear this shirt, so that's why I'm wearing this shirt today. But I thought I'd raise this a very short story, I think because it brings to the fore the story of women women in uniform. I've had many, I think we are quite privileged in the military with Colonel Talmaimbao. We were in this batch of recruit, actually one of 1988. We joined on the 5th of February, 1988. Makes me feel very old, actually. So we joined with the first women batch that joined the RFMS. So since then, there's been, I think, hundreds of women that have joined. And also, I think the Fiji Police Force has a much better record because they've had police women long before they were ever women soldiers. And I think like my daughters and many other service women that I see here today in both uniforms, you join a very proud profession. And I know this is something that our friends, our partners, across the democracies already have women for a very, very long time before we actually accommodated women. But there have been many great women who have served in both in green and in blue. So I think we all remember Una, who's one of the Undersecretary Generals. I'm not sure if she is still at this stage in New York. I think she was a great accomplishment, something that any woman or any person in uniform in Fiji for that matter can be proud of. And of course, we've had similar ladies in RFMS, Colonel Siriratu, former Chief of Staff, Colonel Wananalangi, some of the women that have made it to great heights in leadership. I thought I'd sing their praises this morning, like the very many women that are here. Of course, I think the Assistant Commissioner Kiran, Assistant Commissioner Kiran? Right. So another of our high-flying women, eh? And I would like to congratulate you all women today. I'm here to talk about the report that affects you, so please bear with me as I take a few minutes to share these notes with you. So let me say it's quite a privilege to welcome you all to the launch of the Gender Barrier Assessment Report. So today marks an important milestone, not only for the Ministry of Defense and Veterans Affairs, but for Fiji Disciplined Forces and for our collective commitment to building institutions that are stronger, more inclusive, and better prepared to meet the challenges of the future. I'm grateful to see many partners gathered here today, and I thank you. Your presence demonstrates that advancing gender equality in our society, in our security institutions, is not the responsibility of one ministry or one organization. It is a shared commitment, and it's one that requires us all to work together. Ladies and gentlemen, Fiji has a proud history of serving in the United Nations peacekeeping missions around the world. For decades, our women and men have represented our nation with professionalism, courage, and distinction, often under the most difficult of circumstances. That legacy is something that we are immensely proud of. But if we are serious about preparing our institutions for the future, we must also be willing to ask difficult questions about whether everyone has the same opportunity to serve, to lead, and to succeed. And that is what this gender barrier assessment is about. It's about understanding, not assuming. It's about listening, not guessing. And it is about ensuring that our decisions are informed by evidence rather than perception. For Fiji, this is particularly significant. For the first time, we have comprehensive evidence-based findings that reflect our own institutions, our own experiences, and our own people. We now have a clearer understanding of where progress has been made, but challenges remain, and what practical steps we need to take to build more inclusive and effective organizations. This is important because women's meaningful participation in peace operations and across our disciplined forces is not simply about achieving equal numbers. It is about recognizing that every individual deserves an equal opportunity to contribute their skills, experience, and leadership. It is about upholding the principles of fairness, equality, and of human rights. And it's also about strengthening operational effectiveness. Around the world, experience has shown that diverse security institutions make better decisions, engage more effectively with communities, and are better equipped to respond to increasingly complex security challenges. When women are able to participate fully and meaningfully, everybody benefits. Everyone benefits. Not just the institution, but the community that it serves. This is why Fiji remains firmly committed to advancing the women, peace, and security agenda. These commitments are reflected in the international frameworks we have endorsed and in the practical steps we are taking here at home. Today's report provides us with a clear path forward. But a report, no matter how comprehensive, cannot create change on its own. Real change comes from leadership. It comes from commitment, and it comes from all of us being prepared to turn evidence into action. As Minister for Defense and Veterans Affairs, I want to assure you that this report will not simply become another publication on a shelf. Its findings will help shape the way we strengthen our institutions, develop our people, and prepare the next generation of leaders within our disciplined forces. This work is not about meeting quotas or ticking boxes. It is about ensuring that our institutions reflect the values they are entrusted to protect: fairness, integrity, professionalism, and equal opportunity. I am confident that by working together with our colleagues across government, with UN Women and LC Initiative Fund, our development partners, the Republic of Fiji Military Forces, the Fiji Police Force, and all those who have contributed to this project, we can build security institutions that are stronger because they are more inclusive. Let today's launch be more than the unveiling of a report. Let it be the beginning of a renewed commitment to creating an environment where every woman who chooses to serve her country could do so, to grow professionally, and to lead with confidence. Together we can ensure that Fiji continues to lead by example, not only through our contributions to international peacekeeping, but through our commitment to building disciplined forces that reflect the very values of equality, dignity, and service that we proudly represent. And I thank you once again for everybody who has made this important work possible. And I think I'll wait for Sashi to speak before we say that we will officially launch the Gender Barrier Assessment Report. And may God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for the inspiring address. And as you mentioned, recognition of women, equal opportunity, and leadership. Now I'll give the floor to the Honorable Minister for Women, Children and Social Protection, Honorable Sashi Kiran.
Thank you. The Minister for Defence and Veteran Affairs, Honorable Tikoduadua, the Commissioner of Fiji Police Force, Mr. Officiate Tundravo, Director of Human Resources, Republic of Fiji Military Forces, Kalna Chofiliti Talamembao, the Republic of Fiji Military Forces Chaplain, Diplomatic Corps. Also, I'd like to acknowledge the New Zealand High Commissioner here, permanent secretaries. I see at least 2 permanent secretaries from Defence and Ministry of Information, senior officials, invited guests, media, ladies and gentlemen, Ni and Ravinaka, and a very good morning to you all. It is a very special day, and I would like to acknowledge the land where the custodians of the land where we gather this morning as well. I would like to express my heartfelt appreciation to everyone who has taken the time to be here today. Your presence reflects our shared commitment to building stronger, more inclusive institutions that recognizes the invaluable contributions of our women to peace and security. First and foremost, I wish to acknowledge our chief guest, the Honorable Minister for Defence and Veteran Affairs. It's under your leadership this could begin. Thank you for your leadership in championing this very important initiative, and for recognizing that increasing the meaningful participation of women in peace operations and across Fiji's disciplined forces is both a human rights obligation and operational necessity. This is the first, so thank you. Your ministry has demonstrated that creating opportunities for women to participate, lead, and thrive is not simply about gender balance. It is about strengthening our institutions, enhancing operational effectiveness, and ensuring that our security sector reflects the community it serves. I also extend my sincere appreciation to UN Women for its continued partnership and technical support throughout this journey. I wish to especially acknowledge the generous support of the ELSA Initiative Fund, whose investment made this research possible. Your commitment to advancing the women, peace and security agenda has enabled Fiji to take an important step forward in understanding how we can create more inclusive and equitable security institutions. And I'm told this research happened in multiple phases. Researchers came and interviewed different levels of staffing, eventually going to the executive management. Having heard the rest of the levels, they visited each police station, they visited each of the camps. So it really took the time to listen to different people within the forces. So thank you for opening up to this research. To our members of the Diplomatic Corps, thank you for your continued friendship and partnership. Your support reinforces the importance of working together to advance gender equality and sustainable peace. I also acknowledge Commissioner Officiate Tundravo, the leadership and members of the Fiji Police Force, the representatives and members of the Republic of Fiji Military Forces, and all those serving our cross-discipline forces. Thank you for your openness, your professionalism, and your willingness to participate in this assessment. Your experiences and insights have shaped a report that's grounded in evidence and informed by the realities of those who serve. And I'm very excited and looking forward to reading the report, because we've been talking to women in different spaces and the different challenges they have been speaking about. Now we can see it and hopefully do something about it. I also wish to recognize every project partner, researcher, interviewer, interviewee, and survey participants. Your contribution have been invaluable. By sharing your experiences so openly and honestly, you have helped lay the foundation for meaningful and lasting change. And I know in a hierarchical institution, it's not always easy to open up, but your leadership has made it possible for you. So today's report and the record of findings is a real opportunity. It gives us, perhaps for the first time, a comprehensive understanding of the barriers that women face in joining, remaining, and progressing within our disciplined forces. We have heard of dropout rates, we have heard of leadership pathways, but now there's evidence to say what works and what doesn't. Equally important, it identifies the enabling factors that support women's success and demonstrates where positive progress is already being made. And I want to say thank you and acknowledge that now you have a gender advisor and you have really been progressive in doing, in promoting this agenda. Armed with this evidence, we are now in a stronger position to move beyond assumptions and develop practical evidence-based roadmaps that will guide our efforts towards achieving gender parity and creating workplaces where every individual has the opportunity to contribute and succeed. And we've already heard from Honorable Minister about women facing the challenges both here in Fiji in serving, but also internationally. We know our women also serve in active war zones. This work also reaffirms Fiji's commitment to promote international principles and obligations that promote gender equality and the women, peace and security agenda. As a nation that has proudly contributed to peacekeeping missions around the world, Fiji understands that peace is stronger and more sustainable when women participate fully and meaningfully in maintaining it, because women bring different lenses to the force. Women's participation is not just representation, not about representation. It's about recognizing talent, strengthening leadership, improving operational capability, and ensuring that our institutions benefit from the full range of skills, perspectives, and experiences that women bring. When women are empowered to serve and lead, our security institutions become more responsive, resilient, and effective. And there are many, many cases, stories that have emerged indicating that. So as the Minister responsible for women, children, and social protection, we remain committed to working closely with Minister for Defence and Veteran Affairs, the Fiji Police Force, the Republic of Fiji Military Forces, UN Women, and all our partners to ensure that the recommendations contained in this report are translated into practical actions. And I thank Minister for his commitment in this regard. The Ministry stands firmly behind the implementation of the key recommendations contained in this Gender Barrier Assessment Report. We are pleased both the RFMF and the Fiji Police Force will be part of Phase 2 of Ministry's Gender Transformative Institutional Capacity Development, or ICD initiative, alongside 14 government ministries. This initiative, the ICD, will provide a practical pathway for advancing gender equality through technical support, strategic partnerships, strengthened institutional relationships, and blended learning approaches. Most importantly, it recognizes that achieving lasting change requires a whole-of-government approach with every institution working together to creating inclusive, equitable, and gender-responsive workplaces. The launch of this report is a new chapter, beginning of a new chapter. The real measure of our success will be how we use this evidence to remove barriers, strengthen policies, foster inclusive workplace culture, and create pathways for women to serve and lead with confidence. I'm confident that through continued partnership, shared leadership, and collective commitment, we can build disciplined forces that are not operationally stronger, not only operationally stronger, but also representative, inclusive, and reflective of the values we uphold as a nation. Before I conclude, I once again thank the LC Initiative Fund, UN Women, our government ministries, the Republic of Fiji Military Forces, the Fiji Police Force, our development partners, researchers, and every individual who contributed to this project. This achievement belongs to all of you. Let us now move forward with renewed purpose, united by shared vision of ensuring that every woman who chooses to serve her country can do so in an environment that values her contribution, supports her full aspirations, and enables her to reach her full potential. Together we can build institutions that are stronger because they're inclusive, and a Fiji that's safer, fairer, and more resilient for generations to come. Vinaka Vaklevu, may God bless you and may God bless our beloved Fiji. And now we'll collectively launch this report. Vinaka.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached the highlight of today's program, the official launch of the Gender Barrier Assessment Project Report. May I request the Honorable Minister with the media and invited dignitaries to be part of the official launch of the report today. Vinaka. Thank you, Honorable Ministers. Before you take your seat, there's also part of the program is the cutting of the cake for the official launch of the report. I'll request the ladies to bring the cake up for the cutting. Before the cutting of the cake, may I request the Commissioner of Fiji Police Force and the representatives of RFMF and also with the Gender Barrier Advisors to be part of the cutting of the cake with the Honorable Minister. Alex, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We have 3 addresses that will be delivered this morning. Before we'll give the floor to the Commissioner of the Fiji Police Force and also the representative from the RFMF, Colonel Chofiliti, Talimembao. We have a special video message from Ms. Deborah Warren-Smith, the IF manager.
Affairs. Commander of the Republic of Fiji Military Forces, Commissioner of Police, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and Honourable Minister of Defence and Veteran Affairs, Commander of the Republic of Fiji Military Forces, Commissioner of Police, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Nisam Bula Vinaka. It is a great honour to join you today on behalf of the Elsie Initiative Fund for Uniformed Women in Peace Operations, albeit remotely. I warmly congratulate the Government of Fiji, the Ministry of Defence and Veterans Affairs, the Republic of Fiji Military Forces and the Fiji Police Force on the completion of their Measuring Opportunities for Women in Peace Operations Assessments, or MOEP. This is an important milestone. Fiji is the first Pacific Island country to undertake a MOEP assessment across both its military and its police institutions. It builds on Fiji's long-standing contribution to international peace and security through United Nations peacekeeping, where, for more than 4 decades, Fiji has earned global respect as a trusted contributor. This milestone also reflects Fiji's leadership and commitment to strengthening institutions so that they are more inclusive, more effective, and well-positioned to build on Fiji's contribution to United Nations peace operations. The MOAT methodology is evidence-based, but it is not only about identifying barriers. It also recognises existing institutional strengths. In Fiji's case, the reports point to committed leadership, mentorship, professionalism, and a strong service of culture across both the Royal Fiji Military Forces and the Fiji Police Force. The reports also set out practical recommendations to guide follow-up actions. These include measures to strengthen institutional policies, expand professional development and leadership opportunities, create more inclusive and respectful workplaces, and better support personnel with family and care responsibilities that can affect deployment opportunities. Taken together, the findings provide a clear basis for action. They are not the end of the process. Rather, they are a starting point for sustained institutional follow-up. The LC Initiative Fund welcomes Fiji's commitment to using these findings to inform long-term, sustainable investments that address priority barriers and support the meaningful participation of women in the security sector and in United Nations peace operations. We also look forward to working with both the military and the police through the LC Initiative Fund's 4th programming round to support the translation of the highest priority recommendations into practical actions. Fiji also has an important opportunity to share its experience across the Pacific. We hope that this work will encourage other countries in the region to undertake similar evidence-based assessments, and that Fiji's lessons and experience will support wider regional efforts. On behalf of the LC Initiative Fund, I congratulate the members of the Gender Barrier Assessment Working Groups of both the Royal Fiji Military Force and the Fijian Police Force for their leadership, dedication and commitment throughout the assessment process. I also extend my sincere appreciation to Cornell University's Gender and Security Sector Lab, DCAF, Ethos, CRS, and all those whose expertise, partnership, collaboration and commitment made these reports possible. Vinakava, Kalivu, and thank you.
And continued support of the LC Initiative Fund. Ladies and gentlemen, now I'll give the floor to the Commissioner of the Fiji Police Force, Mr. Officiate Tunda.
Every time a former retired senior military officer said that he's neutral, don't believe. acknowledge the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs on the leadership of this initiative, and also the support from the Ministry of Women and Social Welfare. Our partners, the LC Initiative Funds, EDOS, CRS, and Cornell University's Gender Security Lab, and my colleagues, brothers and sisters from the Fiji Military Forces who work in partnership with us in this initiative. I understand that the project aims to understand the challenges women face in joining and serving in peacekeeping roles, as well as what is already working well. And also the findings will also inform the first Women, Peace and Security Annual Plan for both the forces for the year 2025 to 2029. So the launching today is a significant milestone. It's also a pathway that will, let me put it this way, held accountable for leadership in both the institutions on how we value the contribution of women in the force. I firmly believe that everything starts at home, and I wish to see that challenges women face is addressed first from within the two organizations before we reach out to peacekeeping roles. Are women getting fair treatment from the leadership of the forces? Is the working environment suitable for our mothers, sisters, daughters who are also our comrades? The Fiji Police Force at the moment has 1,253 women, where when one has reached the rank of Assistant Commissioner and 5 as Senior Superintendent of Police with a role of Director in their respective units. 3 are Superintendent of Police, 18 are Assistant Superintendent of Police, 54 are Inspectors, and their roles vary from unit commanders, station officers, officer in charge of policing districts, and even at deputy director level. This year, 2026, marks a very important chapter in the Fiji Police Force achievement of continuous contribution of 37 years of UN peacekeeping, after we have been sending police officers for UN mission since 11th April 1989. The first deployment was in Namibia. Our first 3 women officers were deployed in 1992 to Cambodia. To date, we have sent over 1,650 police officers to all peacekeeping missions, including regional and those that are deployed with the Fiji military forces, of whom 149 are women officers. I'm always encouraging women leadership within the Fiji Police Force, and I'm glad to promote a few to the leadership roles as I took over as the Commissioner of Police, and more to come based on your performance. Concluding remarks, I am optimistic that this initiative will change things for better. We are learning every day, and I hope we will utilize this opportunity well. Thank you once again to our partners, and know that we truly appreciate this available opportunity. Ending up this short note, I am intending to establish just an extended arm from our police academy, given the role of peacekeeping within the Fiji Police, a peacekeeping school to the extension of our police academy, just to assist our pre-deployment training, and also to assist how I see that is the future for the Fiji Police in terms of peacekeeping, and to also support our women in peacekeeping duties, regional and internationally. Finakabalebu, and may the Almighty God bless us all.
Honorable sir. Now I'll give the floor to the Director HRM of the RFMF, Colonel Tofiliti Talimaimbau.
The Honourable Ministers, Excellencies, and members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests, senior officers, ladies and gentlemen. Today is another milestone for the discipline force in mapping a way forward and strengthening gender mainstreaming within the institution. The RFMF supports the sentiments raised by the Honourable Minister during his address this morning on the gender barrier assessment, undertaken through the partnership between the Ministry of Defence, Republic of Fiji Military Forces, Fiji Police Force, the LC Fund Initiative, and the United Nations Women, which provide an evidence-based assessment of policies, systems, workplace culture, and practice that influence recruitment, retention, career progression, and participation of women across the Republic of Fiji Military Force. The Republic of Fiji Military Force is committed to advancing gender equality while identifying opportunities to strengthen institutional systems that support an inclusive, professional, and operationally effective military. The findings reinforced that improving gender inclusion and leveraging opportunities will contribute to stronger leadership, enhanced operational capability, improved decision-making, and a workforce that better reflects and serves Fiji. This report is not just a document, but mirrors where we currently stand as an institution. The findings highlight both our strengths and our challenges. It affirms that the RFMF has made commendable progress in integrating women into peace operations and in fostering inclusivity. It also reveals persistent structural, cultural, and institutional barriers that limit the full participation of women in our ranks. These barriers range from recruitment and retention challenges to gaps in leadership opportunities, limited representation of women in senior leadership and command positions, and operational deployment. It also reveals an institutional culture that, while evolving, still carries traces of bias and structural inequities which persist across contexts, even during international peacekeeping deployments. The RFMF recognizes that these findings call for decisive action. These are not insurmountable obstacles, but they are realities we must confront with honesty and resolve. Our response must be rooted in accountability, inclusivity, and innovation. The report recommends that to leverage opportunities and overcome barriers, the RFMF will need to strengthen integration through review of policies and practices to eliminate systematic barriers and unconscious bias, including compensation, benefits, and leave policies. Promotion of a safe institutional culture through the elimination of harmful behavior and safe complaints mechanisms. Strengthening recruitment pathways to ensure women have equal opportunities to serve and deploy. Reforming institution communication practices. Gender awareness, training, and professional development. Gender responsive infrastructure and equipment. Training and mentorship programs that prepare women for leadership roles and increase women's representation. Family and children support and create safe and supportive environments, including a deployment support where every soldier, regardless of gender, can thrive and contribute fully. For the RFMF, this is not just about fairness, it is about effectiveness. By removing barriers and opening opportunities, we strengthen the operational capacity of the RFMF and reaffirm our commitment to international peace and security. The Republic of Fiji Military Forces is committed to implementing the recommendations through a phased institution-led approach that aligns with its strategic priorities, values, and operational requirements. The RFMF senior leadership will continue to champion gender inclusion as an operational and organization priority by promoting accountability, modeling inclusive leadership, and supporting implementation across commands. The report will serve as an evidence-based roadmap. It will help the RFMF tailor initiatives and the development of an RFMF action plan so that we can strengthen not only participation, but the quality and sustainability of our contribution to peacekeeping operations. Naksa Walip.
Nakalibu, sir.